We are talking today about pathological demand avoidance. With me, I'm going to read her bio here, is Casey Ehrlich, PhD. She is the leading researcher on PDA in the United States. I feel like you're like,
Am I in your house right now?
Finding your content and being able to just understand the lens to look through and the ways to build safety for him. It changed everything. How do you know the difference between a child who is PDA and a child who's a little a-hole?
I don't think children are a-holes.
Oh, gosh. People, chill. But
Chill out.
just chill.
This is, we're
receive
going
it
there.
with generosity because we're going to go there. Hey, what's up? This is Kristen Carder, and you've tuned into the I Have ADHD podcast. I am medicated, caffeinated, regulated, and so ready to roll. I am bursting at the seams, excited for our guest today. This topic is the most requested topic that I have had over and over and over in the last year, and we are talking today about pathological demand avoidance. What we're going to be talking, this is going to be 2 episodes in a row. So like buckle up, get cozy, get ready. We're going to be talking about what does PDA look like in our kids and how can we help pathologically demand avoidant kids thrive. And then in the next episode, next week, we're going to talk about what does it look like in adults and am I pathologically demand avoidant? We're all going to find out together. I am so excited today. With me, I'm going to read her bio here, is Casey Ehrlich, PhD. She is the leading researcher on PDA in the United States, a mother of 2 PDA children, and the founder and CEO of At Peace Parents, which you should all go follow on Instagram right this second. Following her account changed my life and changed the trajectory of my entire family. So you got to go follow right now. Casey has coached thousands of parents of PDA children and teens using empirical evidence, cutting-edge science, and her own personal insights and empathy as a neurodivergent woman. And she is here with us today. Casey, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. I am so glad that you're here. I'm like a fangirl. Big time fangirl.
Here for
I
it.
don't get excited about celebrities. I don't get excited about musicians. I get excited about nerds in the neurodivergent field.
Awesome.
I really do. I get so excited. I was saying to my husband last night, I have 2 interviews tomorrow. I'm so excited. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. This is my Super Bowl. Thank you for being here.
Of course. I'm super excited to
Tell
be
us
here.
a little bit about yourself. Who are you? Where are you from? What do you do?
Yeah. So I am a reformed political scientist. I am a mother of 2 PDA children, 10 and 6. I live in Michigan, and that's my hometown. That's where my home state.
That's where you've been?
I believe I am autistic and here for the conversation. Anything you want to know.
So awesome. Okay, so let's just start right off the bat. What is pathological demand avoidance? How would you describe it? What is PDA? Because it is the kind of thing that's like bubbling up in the conversation, but there's not much out there on it. When I Googled it a year and a half ago, because I was inquiring about my own family situation, I didn't find a whole lot. And so I'm curious, how would you describe it? What is PDA?
Yeah. So why don't I explain how to think about it, and then I can give a definite, like an operationalized definition that can help parents separate it from other neurotypes.
Okay, love that.
Okay. So I first want to start with the fact that all of us as humans have a survival part of our brain, and we have an amygdala, which is the part that on a subconscious level is always detecting safety, danger, or life threat. And when the amygdala perceives threat, it will tell the nervous system to activate fight, flight, freeze, fawn, shut down. So all of us have this nervous system mechanism, regardless of neurotype. What makes PDA unique and distinct from other things that can activate the nervous system is that what tells the amygdala, hey, you're in danger or under life threat, is the subconscious perception of losses of autonomy, or if someone else or something is above that person.
Yes.
And when we think about it with kids, especially, they're constantly perceiving losses of autonomy and equality because the education, therapeutic, and parenting conventional wisdom is very much about like us being the authority, explicitly teaching them and making sure they're compliant. So these kids, teens and adults, are constantly perceiving threat that they might not even be aware of. And it's accumulating in the system, not just over a day or a week, but sometimes months and years. And then often we learn about PDA when they hit what we call burnout, which is just when that accumulation is so far past their threshold that it's starting to disable them from accessing basic needs. And almost any interaction or stimulus is going to set them into a nervous system response.
Yes.
And there's a few other characteristics that I'm happy to speak to, but I'll pause there for now.
What is so wild to me is that it could be a subconscious, it's subconscious so often, right?
Yeah.
And what you just said is that kids have so little autonomy.
Yeah.
They have so little authority in their own lives, at least in the traditional way that we've kind of generation after generation parented kids. Like I was parented by boomers. It was a very like children should be seen and not heard generation. And that is really tricky when it comes to having pathological demand avoidant tendencies.
Yeah.
So can you give some examples of what does it mean to not be equal or someone be above? Like for a kid, what does that look like? And loss of autonomy. Can you give some like practical examples of that?
Sure. So let me use a couple anecdotes to illustrate what this might look like. So my older PDA son, who's now almost 11, I was initially viewing him through the sensory processing disorder lens and some ADHD tendencies. And so I thought like his avoidance and dysregulation to like getting his shoes on, putting his clothes on, getting in the car, buckling his seatbelt was like sensory. Like, oh, this is super uncomfortable. He doesn't necessarily have the executive functioning to know where his shoes are. The tags are bothering him. That was the root cause I was thinking about. But then I noticed a pattern where it's like, if you're getting to choose where you're going, like we're going to a trampoline park or we're going to like see a friend, the shoes come on, the tags don't matter, the seatbelt's buckled. And so it started to appear like, okay, this isn't just demand avoidance because of a sensory thing or executive functioning or him not understanding what I'm saying. It's because when he has a choice and he has autonomy, his nervous system stays regulated and he stays in his thinking brain. And so he can access those skills and do all the things that I thought were related to these other challenges in his brain wiring. Feeling above, so there's patterns that we see pretty frequently with these kids. So, it might be one very simple example is like sometimes we see these kids needing, like they go on the top of cars, they climb on the edges of windows sills, they go on the tops of couches. They need to have the last word. They need to have a little bit more than their brother. They need to be first up the stairs and they'll physically like push you out of the way. But it's as a parent, you can observe it's an automatic response. Like it's not conscious, right? And so like what we call an accommodation for PDA is like, can we facilitate this child feeling above me by me like sitting below them on the floor while I'm trying to have a conversation. So they stay in their thinking brain. So that's like a physical example of needing to be above. I think my younger son, William, is 6, and right now he's in burnout. So he had a huge accumulation of all of these neurocepted threats in his system. And now we're working to get him out of burnout. And so he does what I call equalizing, which is like needing to feel above to get back to safety. So like if you listen to him, so he's in Minecraft all day because we're unschooling. And he says under his breath constantly, idiot, stupid. And he's like saying things to the Minecraft characters. And also like the thing that's therapeutic for him is that my husband will play collaboratively in Minecraft on the server. And he just like explodes and kills my husband over and over and over again. And it's like annoying. And my older son used to do it like physically to me of like controlling my line of vision when we're watching a show or like calling me stupid or physically lashing out. My younger son has a different expression of that, but it's this need to feel above to get back to safety. And when you think about it, like if I don't want to go too dorky here, but
Go on, go full nerd.
Okay, full nerding. You know about trauma and nervous systems, right? And so one of the things we know from polyvagal theory is that mammals, unlike reptiles, like lizards, have the ability to socially, they have a secondary vagal pathway that can downregulate the immediate fight, flight, or freeze responses through social signals of safety, right? Like we're providing to each other right now of like, you're safe.
Like magical.
So for PDA kids, especially in burnout, it's like they're not getting the mammalian signals. They're just in their reptilian brain. And so what are the mechanisms that a lizard has to stay safe? Right. It's to flee, it's to freeze, or it's to be the bigger lizard. So that's kind of how I think about it, of like, let this kid be the bigger lizard.
Yes. How do you know, like somebody listening could be like, it would be valid to be like, well, her son just sounds like a jerk.
Yeah.
Like your son just sounds like he needs to know who's boss.
Absolutely.
Right? Or like that child just needs some discipline. Like how do you help us think it through in a nuanced way? Because I think that would be like a knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah.
Like your child's playing Minecraft all day long and he's blowing you up and your other kid is like hurting you. What the hell is going on?
Yeah. So my older son does not do that anymore. That was a burnout. And it's because I doubled down on very strict parenting. I was never a gentle or attachment parent. I was like, I'm freaking sleep training this kid at 12 weeks. And I am like, 1, 2, 3 magic, like put him in the timeout. Like you cannot act like this, like very traditional.
Yes.
And
how'd that work out for you?
Oh, that's why we got to the violence. So I think the other piece, and I'd love to just give the working definition we use for research and for our work with families is PDA is a survival drive for autonomy and equality that consistently overrides other survival instincts like eating, sleeping, hygiene, safety, and or toileting. Wow. So one or more of those basic needs is going to start to be impacted when they're reaching burnout or when you're doubling down on the like, well, they just need to like do the thing or they can't talk to you like that. It reaches a point where there's so much stress in their system that control starts to coalesce around a basic need, one or more, and then physiologically they're impacted by how much stress. So my son stopped eating and stopped speaking and he stopped walking. So that's where we get out of the like, parenting strategies and into like caregiving and disability.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like my child is not okay.
Yeah. And so like I can speak to the basic needs patterns because I think this is a missing link for a lot of people.
Sure.
But I don't want to just ramble.
No, this is like I am riveted. So if you could go there, that would be great.
Yeah.
So your son stopped, say it again. He stopped eating, walking,
and speaking.
How old was he at the time?
He was 4.5. And this was until like.
Otherwise, like kind of neurospicy, but fairly typical kiddo.
So he was my first child.
Yes.
And I just thought I sucked as a mom because I was like, everyone else seems to like still have a life and like go out to dinner. I used to live in Washington, D.C., and I had a job in an office downtown. And I couldn't really function besides that because it was like, when he was born, he did not sleep, like at all. My friends were so worried about me. They got me a night nurse and she recorded his sleep patterns. And it was like, she was like, I've never seen a kid like this. I've never seen an infant like this. It's like he'll sleep for 10 minutes and then be awake for 2 hours. And then he'll sleep for 20 and then he'll be awake for another hour and never napped. No, it was insane.
Yep.
I see that you're recognizing this.
To it on a level that is uncomfortable for me.
Yeah.
I'm relating to it on a level that's uncomfortable. And I will share. So one of my kids was very similar and we tried everything.
Yeah.
And I did not sleep for the first year of his life. And I wasn't like the co-sleeper. I wonder now if that would have helped maybe. But at the time, you know, I was very traditional like you were. And all of my friends were having babies at the same time. And my kid didn't sleep. And then my friends would give me advice. And then I would just cry and get angry. Because I'm like, I guess I
just suck.
I just suck. Or my kid sucks.
Yes, both.
That's
both
the
suck.
part, right?
It's a dyad of suckiness.
That's the part that I'm ashamed of, really, is like thinking that it was his fault or that he was doing it to me. And I remember saying to my husband, I know he's only 6 months old, but I feel like he's trying to manipulate me.
Yeah.
And like, he's 6 months old. Like, what are you even talking about? But that is how I felt about my infant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I felt even worse things
Okay.
than that. So it's very common.
Okay.
Yeah. So
you were saying, you were just describing him as a kiddo. So he didn't sleep.
So he didn't sleep. He didn't play or engage. Like I could entertain him.
Yes.
I could build things for him that he would destroy. Yep. I could do jazz hands and improv, but he couldn't. And I had a second infant. And so I saw, and he's more internalized than Cooper, but he wouldn't like reach out for toys or play. He couldn't be independent because he'd hurt himself, scream, or hurt someone else. And this extended all the way through burnout and beyond. Okay. So he needed undivided attention, like not mom's in the room and also folding laundry, but like I am full on hands-on. Mm-hmm. But then he'd go off to school or preschool and he was like charismatic, a leader, no problem. He would spend the night at my mother-in-law's house in DC and he would eat differently, go to sleep earlier, not be defiant or break things. And the second my face showed up,
meltdown.
Yeah.
I'm hungry. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So my older son is so fight flight. That's his nervous system pathway. And his equalizing is so outward that I saw the mechanisms. Like once I started to understand PDA, I could see every activation, like what caused it. But I want to also say for parents, like my son's basic need, his stickiest basic need is what I call it, that he was disabled from was eating. And for 2 years, he ate 3 processed foods. Okay, Lay's potato chips, popcorn, and Pirate's Booty. I'm not exaggerating. Like he was at risk of a feeding tube.
Wow.
Yeah, and when I would put supplements and stuff in chocolate milk before he dropped those,
he would know.
He would drop it.
Oh, so now it's no longer a safe food.
Yeah. And we went through therapy and all the things. But for other parents, the kid might eat fine, but they might still be in diapers at 7 or 8, or the kid might be peeing everywhere except for in the toilet, or having a toileting regression, UTIs and caprices, things like that. So that would be like the toileting basic need.
Yes.
And this can be teens and adults too, how it impacts them. And this has nothing to do with social communication, lack of skills, or intelligence. This has to do with access and what's happening in the nervous system and brain. This is why I consider it a disability.
Yeah.
Eating can also look like compulsive eating. But with teens, like we often see ARFID and anorexia diagnoses that are not helped by traditional methods.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. For sleep, we might see constant night waking, needing to co-sleep, or movement into a non-24-hour sleep cycle.
Yes.
For hygiene, we might see complete refusal, but like to the point where they'll fight you physically about teeth brushing, bathing, nail cutting, hair cutting, or it might be safety. So this could be self-harm, unaliving ideation, and then or towards others, like physical violence towards others. So those 5 things get in the way of these children's ability to live. And it is fluctuating because it's cumulative. But I think of PDA as a nervous system difference or disability.
If somebody is listening and they are thinking, okay, I see a lot of this in my kiddo, but it's not that bad. It's not that extreme. Is it still something that they should learn about and pay attention to?
In my world, there's no shoulds. I'm always trying to give everyone their own autonomy.
She called me out. I appreciate it. I can handle it. So no shoulds, people. No shoulds.
No shoulds. You do you. So I think it can be really helpful for parents who have neurodivergent kids who have learned a lot about neurodiversity. And so they're thinking about sensory, they're thinking about executive function, they're thinking about social communication, restricted and repetitive interests, to add to their repertoire.
I love the way you said that.
The idea that what is causing challenges, avoidance, or struggles in the relationship could be based on the perception of autonomy and equality. Because it's often the missing piece. So for like a true PDA child, it's the defining feature. It will override other things. It will be the first lens that we want to see them through. But I think for ADHD and autistic kids, neurospicy kids, like there is a strong drive for autonomy. It's not necessarily a disability, but we can do a lot more collaboration and relational safety if we're taking that into account.
Oh, I 100%, 1,000,000% agree with that. I think that, and we're going to get to the point where we talk about like low demand parenting and what does that look like. But I'm curious if under the hygiene umbrella, would that also be like their space?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Or is it mostly their body?
So the reason that I focus on those 5 basic needs is because like a space doesn't have to be clean to stay alive.
I see.
But like teeth eventually will get infected or So there's like a second tier of things we can think about, like activities of daily living. So like leaving the house, leaving their room, movement, connection, learning, which a clinician can argue with you and say those aren't necessary to stay alive, so it's not a disability, which is why I frame it as such,
Sure.
because I very strongly believe that this disables a subset of neurodivergent children and should be taken seriously. But in terms of like not being willing to clean their space, yeah, that's certainly a pattern we see for sure.
I feel like you're like,
Am I in your house right now? Got my glasses on.
It's so interesting because I always have this like line that I'm walking on this podcast, which is the best thing I can do is be vulnerable and connect.
Yeah.
And the worst thing I could do would be to share something about my family member that they wouldn't want shared.
I understand.
And so I just feel like I'm always on this tightrope of I think that like being vulnerable and connecting is so important, and my kids' autonomy and their ability to own their own story is really important too. And so it's like, but I will say, yes, you are in my home. And burnout, I do believe that my son went into like a PDA burnout phase, and it was very scary.
Yeah.
And that was a couple years ago. And finding your content and being able to just understand the lens to look through and the ways to build safety for him, it changed everything.
That's great.
I've never gotten teary on this pod ever, y'all. My goodness. But the ability to understand him through that lens changed everything. And so that's why I think it's just so important that parents hear what you have to say, because some parents will hear you and say like, nope, that's not my kids. And then you just move on. And that's like, great for you. I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy for you. But anyone who is like, oh my goodness, like my kid is, like ADHD or autistic or OCD or something, but there's more there. Like he's never or she's never fit the mold. And they've always been like so hard to understand. And I don't understand why there's always like this battle, the constant battle that goes beyond oppositional defiant, like constant battle. Like why? And I think pathological demand avoidance, understanding that it's even a thing and a concept, can just change so many families.
Yeah. And it gives us much more compassion, right? Than just being like, your kid is oppositional.
Yes.
Or a bad kid. Because like you think that as a parent, like I'm a bad mother and my child is not a good kid, with a lot of these behaviors.
Yes.
And it's an invitation to see it a different way that can be really healing for families.
Yes. Absolutely. Okay, let's move to right now, from what I understand, the conversation around PDA is under the umbrella of autism, I think. And I'd like your clarity on this. My listenership is ADHD, but when I'm coaching, and I coach thousands of people, and what I hear is a lot of PDA tendencies.
Yeah.
And so I'm a little bit confused about whether or not someone with ADHD can be PDA. And we can talk about it in terms of teens and kids. Is it exclusively under the autism umbrella, or is it like broader than that?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I am not the definitive word on this, but I can talk to like, why don't I talk a little bit about like how we got here?
Sure.
And where we are now.
Sure.
And what
it's a developing conversation right now.
So PDA was a term that was first coined in 1980 in the UK by a woman named Elizabeth Newson. And she conceptualized it as adjacent to ASD, autism spectrum disorder, but was noticing a lot of social strategies for avoidance. So the way it was termed was like an anxiety-driven need for control.
Okay.
And the children used social strategies often to avoid tasks. And so I think now there's this conversation evolving because we've had a lot of PDA adults on social media and in their own content talking about their lived experience, right? So we have Sally Cat, we have Christy Forbes, we have Demi Burnett, we have lots of creators where you see a different internal lived experience. And it is often placed under the autism spectrum disorder umbrella. So like in Australia, it's diagnosable under ASD.
Okay.
But personally, because I've worked with so many families and seen the patterns, I think there are many adults who identify with PDA and do not identify as autistic. And there are many of their children who would never meet the criteria for autism because they're like super social. And like my older son, social, outgoing, makes eye contact. He is autistic, but like by a clinician, he would be viewed much more as ADHD.
Sure.
But he identifies as autistic and PDA.
Yeah.
So I'm hedging a little bit here. I'm just going to say it. I think you can be ADHD and PDA. I don't think you need to be autistic, but that's not a popular opinion.
I love that you were just like, I'm just going to say it.
I hedged for a lot. No.
Yeah.
But as a researcher, so there's two things. One is like identity and lived experience.
Sure.
And I'm never going to tell someone you have to be autistic in order to be PDA if this is your experience. And I've worked with a lot of adults and met a lot of adults who are like, I'm PDA, but I'm ADHD and PDA.
Right.
Or I'm just PDA. Then we have the clinical stuff, which is like political, evolving, and not something that like I have a big say in.
Right. Yes.
You know what
that
I mean?
makes sense.
But I feel very strongly because like the pattern I do see is that so many families who could be helped by the PDA lens are not taken seriously because their kid doesn't present as typically autistic. And that's why I want to keep this conversation open.
Yes.
Acknowledging that like the DSM, the Diagnostic Statistical Manual, keeps changing, right? Like 2013, pervasive developmental disorder not otherwise specified and Asperger's were scooped into the autism spectrum. Yeah. So it's pretty broad.
Yes. Everyone with ADHD knows what to do to improve their lives. You go to bed at a reasonable time and you wake up early, make a list, cross the things off the list in order, manage your time well. Yeah, we know what to do, but ADHD is not a disorder of not knowing what to do. It's a disorder of knowing exactly what to do, but not being able to get yourself to do it. That's why ADHD is so frustrating. We're smart and we want to succeed, but we can't get ourselves to do the things that we know we should do in order to make improvements. That's why I created Focused. I'm a life coach with multiple certifications, and since 2019, I've spent thousands of hours coaching adults with ADHD. Time for me to focus on you. Hello. Welcome to your coaching call. I am going to be coaching you today on relationships. I know what it takes to help an adult with ADHD go from hot mess express to grounded and thriving. Focused is my monthly coaching membership where we go deep and we get to the root cause of what holds us back with ADHD. I'll teach you how to understand your ADHD brain, regulate your emotions, and accept yourself, flaws and all. With this foundation, we build the skills to improve life with ADHD. And not only do you get skills and tools in Focused, but you're surrounded by a huge community of adults with ADHD who are also doing the work of self-development right alongside of you. Dr. Ned Hallowell says healing happens in community, and I have absolutely found this to be true. As a matter of fact, listen to what actual Focus members have to say about being in this program.
What can I say about Focused?
Full community of people who have issues similar to you, and no one judge you.
Focused has really supported me with my difficulties and asking for help. I've been encouraged and cheered on by the community.
I really like that you can do as much or as little as you want. It's not just about the volume of the content, it's about the quality.
Focus has helped me understand ADHD better.
I would recommend this to anyone.
I would thoroughly recommend Focused. I can confidently say that this is one of the best decisions that I have made for myself.
So if you're an adult with ADHD who wants to figure out how to be motivated from the inside out and make real, lasting changes in your life, join hundreds of others from around the world in Focused. Click the link in the episode description to check it out. It's so, I think you're being really generous, and I appreciate that.
I'm going to get some hate on this one.
Listen, there's no way to tell the truth without getting hate.
Yeah.
There's just not. There's no way to tell your version, whatever version of the truth that is. Like, there's no way to say what you think without getting hate. And I just appreciate your willingness. I appreciate your willingness to like open yourself up to that hate, because what it does is that allows the thousands and thousands of people that are ADHD and listening to this podcast to say, wait, maybe this is actually something that I should consider.
Yeah.
Without drawing the line and saying, well, I'm not autistic. I don't think I would meet the criteria for autism. So this is not something that I need to even think about.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very generous interpretation of PDA. And listen, my husband would be like, this girl right here is the most demand avoidant woman in the world. And I don't think I would meet the criteria for autism, but I have a lot of these internal battles of, and we're going to talk about this in the next episode, of like the struggle of being an adult and setting tasks for myself to do, and then feeling that, for me, it's more like freeze in those moments of like, I can't do it. I'm not going to do it. You can't make me do it. Yeah. And that's me talking to me.
Totally. Yeah.
And that's like, it's not normal, because
it's like survival brain and frontal.
It is exactly that. And I like have been in burnout shutdown modes in some ways, not maybe to the extent that you've described with your kids, but certainly not able to function.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I appreciate the generosity of your interpretation.
Absolutely.
I absolutely appreciate that. So how do you know the difference between a child who is PDA and a child who's a little a-hole?
I don't think children are a-holes.
Oh gosh, should I take that part out?
No. Here's the thing. They can act like a-holes.
Yeah.
And sometimes my husband and I will finish the day of caregiving and be like, man, he was such a dick today, right?
Yes.
So like, I don't say that as like a judgmental thing at all. But my spiritual belief is that like our children are acting in a way that is in the asshole genre because of something, not because they are an asshole, right? And so there's always, to me, a root cause. Like, I don't think that, and I could be wrong about this, right? And people will argue with me, like, but I have a spiritual belief that in each child and human is a divine light that can never be corrupted. And our job as parents, clinicians, teachers is to facilitate that light to shine. And so like with our PDA kids, the threat response is what we're interacting with. It's not the child.
Say that again. It's the threat response that we're interacting with, not the child.
Yeah. Like you're not your nervous system and you're not your thoughts and you're not your emotions. You are the witness of those things, whether you call it consciousness, soul, spirit. And not to be too like woo-woo, but yeah, I have that belief, and I had to develop that belief to stay with the hardness of my son. Like, I was not a spiritual person before my son's burnout.
What's so interesting as you say that is I come from, it's so interesting to even have this conversation because my like family heritage is like fundamental Christianity, which views children through the lens, and I'm speaking broadly, so like people chill, but
Chill out.
just chill.
This is
We're
receive
going
it
there with generosity because we're
there.
going to go there. It views children through the lens of like you were born with this in nature.
Yep.
And it's the parent's job. And this is horrible.
Yeah, it's the opposite of what
It's the opposite of what you just said. Like it's the parent's job to rid the child of their sin nature.
Yeah.
And we do that by understanding that the child is, you know, born with
original sin.
Original sin. I'm like, what is that word again? So you're born with original sin and you like have to be corrected at every turn in order for that to be made right.
Yeah.
And that's how I was parented. That's how I started my parenting journey, to my shame. And what we forget, and like, sorry to make this Christian-y, but like what we forget is that like we're also made in God's image. Hello.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like you have to, if you're going to be like a fundamental person in that way, like you can't also neglect the part where like we're image bearers.
Yeah.
So like your child is an image bearer. Like what are you doing, Kristen? Thinking that your child is just like the worst person, right? And
Yeah.
I like your version so much better because I want to view my child as good.
It's a Buddhist version. Can I give you a quote?
Yeah.
So Buddhism says that the challenge for humans, or the problem with humans, is not that they're sinners, it's that they're blind to their true nature, that they forget what they are, which is like part of source. It's exactly what you said.
Yeah.
Right? But I think we can get really far away from that because everything in our culture is, and I have this internalized of like, I'm not worthy just because I exist. I need to be productive. I need to be palatable. I need to do things, right?
Productive, palatable, pretty.
Yeah.
All the P words. We got to be all of them. Yeah.
So I think, you know, I was raised Catholic, Episcopalian and Catholic, depending on where we were in my parents' divorce. And I sort of abandoned all religion to be more of an academic. You know, it's not popular to talk about spirituality in academic circles, most of them. But I had to find something to trust because my child, for all intents and purposes, to me looked like kind of demonic. And like I've had to do a lot of trauma work on that.
Wow.
And so I had to decide, am I going to see this kid as bad or am I going to see him as good and act from there? And I chose the latter. And I'm really glad I did because now I see the beautiful human that he is behind that threat response. And so I try and approach all people from that lens. And sometimes I get pissed off and don't do it, but like I try and have that as my baseline.
Yes. Okay, so when we are encountering a kiddo who is defiant, whether they're pathological, whether they're PDA or not, what you're saying is we're interacting with behavior, we're not interacting with the person.
Like the self.
The truest self.
Yeah, the higher self or like the spirit of that child, the heart of that child. We're interacting with a nervous system response, I think. Sometimes it can be trying to get their needs met, you know. I'm not totally discounting behavior that is goal-oriented. But what is the goal, right? Like, and I'm not trying to blame parents. It could be like something's happening at school or they don't feel seen or they have neurodivergence that we haven't recognized. And so it feels out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the needs are invisible to us. Like they need lower lights in the room.
Mm-hmm.
So I try and view it like that. And it saved my family to think about it like that, because I was ready to head for the hills.
I believe it.
I was like, I'm done with this.
Yes. Okay, so let's chat about how do you exist in a family and like have a family that is, you know, I mean, you got to put food on the table.
Yeah.
Kids need, I don't know. I would say like kids need the rhythms, education of some sort, whether even if that is like unschooling or whatever. Like we need to be moving things forward. How in the world do you do that with a pathologically demand avoidant child, especially if there are other kids in the mix?
Yeah. Yeah. So I always encourage parents to like take one digestible bite at a time and to start with things that don't require changing the family system or necessarily involving anyone else. So like, let's say we just have one parent who wants to experiment with a different way of being with the child. There are a couple like simple but not easy changes we can make. So like one of the most simple things is wait until they speak to you instead of asking them questions. Right? Like that, you can do that without changing anything. You can still have your family dinner, you can still have a curfew, but even just our interactions throughout the day can be activating that threat response, right? So not speaking, waiting for them to initiate conversation. When they do initiate conversation, allowing them to talk about what they want to talk about without an agenda. We can also think about experimenting with autonomy in ways that is less scary, right? Like we can think about small examples. Like let's say you have a neurodivergent, an ADHD kid who just like keeps wanting to eat with their hands. And you're trying to be like, no, I need to teach them to use their utensils.
It's my job as the parent to teach them like that. That's in us.
Totally. But the assumption with PDA is they already know. They already know. They just aren't accessing that frontal lobe where the skill resides and the executive functioning resides. So what if we could give them autonomy around that? Like they're still at the table. We're still eating dinner. You're still feeding them. But there's so many things.
You want to eat with your hands?
Yeah, like parents immediately go to the like, well, I can't pull them out of school and just like no curfew.
Like chill.
Like one step at a time. Because then when parents make even small tweaks.
I've seen it
they
in my
see
house.
The difference.
I've seen it in my house.
Yeah.
I've seen it in my own. You're not lying. Like,
I'm not lying, people.
I know you're not lying because I've done it. And so my husband and I had like a very frank conversation about like, where can we just chill?
Yeah.
Where can we add support with tasks that seem age appropriate that he should be able, should.
Yeah, that's the lowering demand.
Right?
Yeah.
He should be able to do this. And it's like, so like I just started cleaning his room every day.
Yeah.
It was so easy for me.
Yeah.
It was clean his room. And like for him to enter into a clean space and not have a fight about like, why aren't your clothes in the hamper? Like, why can't you just It was just like, I'm just going to take care of it.
Yeah.
That one tweak changed so much.
Yeah. And it all comes back though to that fundamental assumption. Is it my job to teach them to be good and give them the skills to do so? Or is it my job to facilitate their true self coming out? And so it's like, but that's where we always get stuck, right? Because I have the same conditioning of like, and I get fear of like, I can't be writing my son's homework for him because he's already in 5th grade. But it's like, well, if he's learning the information and he's having avoidance or freeze around the actual task of writing because he did it all day at school, I'm just going to write the thing that he's dictating to me. I'm lowering the demand of writing. But then in the back of my head, I'm like, this is bad parenting because of my condition.
He's never going to learn. He's never
But he
going to be
already
independent.
knows. He did it all day at school. It's just he's at his threshold.
Yes.
So there's so many hundreds of interactions we have with our kids that don't require, throwing, not having a bedtime, not having a curfew, having chaos in the home. It's really about, can we let some stuff go and facilitate them being, like my kid is attending school and that is getting him to his threshold. So everything else at home, I'm going to support, even if he can cognitively and physically do it in other moments.
That's so important. And I just wonder, have you had to work through like it triggering you?
100% all the time. Yeah, of course.
That's not just me.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Because it's like, I think that I also have that equalizing in some ways. And so then I'm like doing that with the child, which is inappropriate, right? And so like letting him
have the last word.
Letting him have the last word, letting him, letting myself be lower. It is, and that's, I think for me, like family stuff, maybe not neurodivergent, but more like trauma, where I'm like, nobody's going to have control over me, right?
Yeah.
And I see mine probably more through the lens of trauma, maybe, or like my desire to equalize. But it's like it brings the worst in me up to the surface. And it's a constant invitation for me to regulate, to soothe, and to make a choice of like, who are you going to prioritize here and what's most important here? And I hate it.
Yeah, it sucks.
I don't like it. It's not fun.
It's not fun, but it is the thing that helps me and has helped other parents who would relate to you a lot is to really focus on a couple things. One is, first and foremost, just like that belongs. Like, absolutely. I'm fucking annoyed with my kid and I feel resentment. This belongs.
Yes.
Like, welcome resentment. It's all good.
Yeah.
There's no judgment of self, all the self-compassion. The second is realizing that we can find meaning in it. And so, like, for me, every time I interact and have that knee-jerk reactive human nature that I have, and I can pause and sort of recenter and then act from love, I feel like I'm growing. And so it's like there's something in it for me, and there's meaning.
Yeah.
And then if you have a strong drive for autonomy, like one thing that's helped our families, a lot of the parents are PDA themselves, is recognizing that you have a choice, right? It's cumulative. This is what I love about PDA. Okay, so like every interaction is a choice to activate or accommodate, and it builds in the system, right? But because it's building over time, we can accommodate 2 out of 3 times and still make a huge amount of progress. Sure. So that third time, you can just be like, I'm not fucking cleaning the room today,
Yes.
And it's still going to be okay because you have your baseline.
I love that. There is still choice in it for the parent. And there's still a measure of like, as long as the ratio and the scale is it tipped in this direction, I can get a little bit.
You can be your imperfect self that all of us are.
Yeah. Take me back to every interaction is an opportunity or a choice between
activating the nervous system or accommodating it. There's no yellow zone. There's no gray space.
Say more.
Okay. So often a place, I got stuck here too. All the stuck places are places that I've been like brought to my knees on. You know, like when I was first trying to do therapy with my son, it's like trying to teach him the zones of regulation. And like what I observed is like there's red or there's green. Like there is no in between. It's just boom, boom. And so the way I think about it is like, you can't hedge. You can't be like, okay, I'm going to be flexible, but in the back of my mind, I'm still going to be trying to teach something in this moment.
See right through it.
Yes. It's like energetic perception.
Yeah.
So I don't like to operate in binaries. Like I'm always all about the nuance, but this is the one place where I coach families to be like, if we don't accept this logic, we're never going to make progress.
Fascinating.
Because it's from that logic that we can actually like engage in a new form of decision making with a new logic that can actually support peace in the family.
Yep.
But if we're still trying to make decisions around things like boundaries, school, screens, siblings, from a place of, if I just say it differently, or if I just find a tool on the internet to make it so that they don't get activated when I give them a boundary, you're going to stay stuck.
Yep.
Because you're looking to fix what is a disability. You're trying to make it so that they don't have PDA. Because the nature of it is when they neurocept, I don't have freedom, choice, autonomy, and equality, their nervous system goes off.
Yep.
That doesn't mean we don't set boundaries. It does mean we have to make decisions accordingly.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
100%. I appreciate you saying there's green or red.
Yeah.
Like
no
that's
yellow
very
zone.
clear. That's very clear. Is that why things go from 0 to 100 in a snap second and you're just like, wait, what just happened?
Yeah, that and the accumulation.
Okay, yeah.
So like my older son, because we've been doing this for 6 years with him, he has a window where like he still gets activated anytime I set a boundary with him.
Sure.
But because he has a window of tolerance from all the work we've done, he might be like, ugh, be like, shut up under his breath instead of and recover.
Sure.
Instead of like an hours long meltdown.
Okay, so is the lower demand parenting all about increasing their window of tolerance, increasing their ability to have a little bit more access to their thinking brain?
Yeah. So I think there's 3 things that are the goal.
I can't wait to hear. I'm so excited. Tell me the goals.
1. The very first goal is felt safety on a subconscious level with you, the connection. So they can be very attached and emotionally attached to you and still be perceiving danger around you.
Okay.
So the goal is to like get you guys back on the same team where it's like, because once you're on the same team and they trust you, you can do a lot more than when you're activating their nervous system.
I've experienced both.
Yeah.
It's shocking.
Yeah. So the connection
contrast.
piece, totally. Do you want to say more?
No, I don't. Continue.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm positive.
2, it's to create a window of tolerance in their
Yes.
nervous system.
Yeah.
So we teach 12 accommodations.
Okay.
And I don't love the words low demand parenting because
interesting.
the true root cause is like autonomy and nervous system safety. And lowering demands I think of as one of the 12, like doing things for them.
I see.
They can cognitively or physically do for themselves. So like putting their shoes on and tying them even though they can't, or delivering food. So the more we accommodate, the more that they develop a window of tolerance, that their cumulative nervous system stress comes down. And then the third is creating new neural pathways back to the thinking brain and regulation. So like, let's take a scenario where we want our kid to get off a screen, right?
Mhm.
And we're like, okay, it's time to get off the screen. They're going to have that internal activation.
And I've braced myself for it already. I'm
Yeah.
like, it's going to freak out. I'm having anxiety about setting that limit. Like I'm worked up already.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard stuff.
Okay, continue.
So the next decision point is like, they're not getting off.
Yep.
So there's a couple ways to do this. Like boundaries, I define as what you do in response to something.
Sure.
So there's choices. We could turn off the Wi-Fi.
Mhm.
We could physically take the iPad out of their hand. We could start yelling at them while we take the iPad out of the hand.
Yep.
So let's say instead of just removing the iPad as a regulated parent, being like, I'm sorry, but it's time, knowing that they're going to activate, we choose to also get mad and try and teach.
Yep.
Instead of one activation in the system, we have two. Okay?
Yes.
And then they have a meltdown. So now we have another choice point or decision point.
Mhm.
We can bear witness and de-escalate, or we can get even madder. Like, you can't throw things. You can't call me names.
Yep.
And then they're just going further and further into life threat.
Yes.
And the pathway is just going down the like fear pathway
Mhm.
into the survival brain and going deeper and deeper in that.
Mhm.
Or we could maybe add on some autonomy, like, hey, bud, I'm thinking in about 10 minutes, we need to get off the iPad. And they're like, fuck you, or they hiss at you, or no,
Yeah.
depending on the age. And then we might give them 20, right? So we add in a little, they stay in their thinking brain a little bit longer. And then we do have to take the iPad away, but we're doing it with love of just like, hey, bud, it's time for bed. I'm going to take the iPad away.
Mhm.
And they go into this huge, huge meltdown.
Mhm.
There's activation there, but then instead of trying to teach or incentivize them to do it differently, we just sit with them and bear witness and be like, I'm so sorry. This is so hard. I love you. And then we repair afterwards.
Yeah.
It's like their neural pathways are more quickly coming back to safety. And that's what we want to teach our kids.
Mhm.
Like, you're safe. You can get back to your thinking brain where you can access empathy, connection,
Mhm.
executive functioning, rational thought.
Mhm. And I'm a safe place for you to have this freak out, which is not fun for you either. Like,
Yeah.
it's not fun for the child.
No.
Right. And so when we are like resisting it, upset about it, adding to it, it's taking something that's already so difficult for them and escalating it so much rather than just like, I'm here for you and I'm
Yeah.
strong enough to like contain this moment.
Yeah, because it's just the nervous system. It's not your kid,
Yeah.
right? It's not their self. It's just, and accepting like, I'm going to set the boundary and they're going to activate.
Both are going to be true.
Yeah. And there's no strategy. There's no,
What is the 3 quick tips? Like,
yeah, it's
there's
like, hey, ChatGPT, how do I
Right.
set this boundary so that my kid doesn't have an activation? Part of what we work on with families is like that radical acceptance piece of there will be an activation, especially if they're in burnout because they don't have the window yet and they don't have the felt safety.
Yes.
So how can we accept that and act from there? And it's hard. Like it brings up all our own traumas and our own shit, right?
It's a constant invitation. And like you either accept the invitation and you do your own healing or you fight with your child
For the rest
of their
lives.
lives. Like that's kind of where I've been like, okay, either I'm going to do the work in myself so that I can be safe for him, or we're going to be at odds.
Yeah.
And there will be periods, because we've experienced that, of him under-functioning and being impacted in a really big way because of the way that either his brain is working or our family system is working or something.
Yeah. And there's no blame here. Like I speak from doing literally everything, quote, wrong.
Yeah.
And this is why I don't say any shoulds. It's like, I tried everything. And I tried to make him not PDA, and I railed at, I howled at the moon and hated my life and hated him and all the things.
Yeah.
And so I would never judge a parent for hearing this and being like, fuck Casey. You know what I mean? Like, depending on where I was in my journey, I would have listened to myself and been like,
get out of here.
Get out of here.
Yeah. Yeah. Saying, I mean, I have explicit memories of people suggesting like softer limits and me being like, you're crazy.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. That's ridiculous. And that's what I needed. He did. He needed softness.
Yeah.
He needed to be hard and live in a soft environment. And that's a tricky scenario for a parent to set up.
It is. It is. But so much of our resistance isn't about actual need for the family. It's about our fear that we're doing it wrong.
Yep. Or our programming of like, this is how it should be done. And if I'm a good parent, this is what I should do. He should eat, like his room should look like this. The table manners should look like this. The homework time should look like this. And if it doesn't, that's an indictment of me and my motherhood.
Yeah. And I will say a lot, like parents listening, or if you think you might be PDA, like your intuition knows. It's just you feel like you're doing it wrong.
Yes. Like I can't follow my intuition because I would be doing it wrong if I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. As we wrap it up, thank you so much for being here. And for parents listening who are like, eyes are opening, mind blown, like, oh my goodness, I really think this might be the lens that I should be looking at or looking through at my child. What hope can you offer to them? Like where are some places that they can start with understanding what's going on and maybe shifting the dynamic in their family?
Yeah. Okay. So the first thing I'd love to share is just strengths because we haven't talked about it.
Yeah.
So these kids are awesome. Like and adults. When they are in regulation and safety, they are incredibly charismatic, great senses of humor, very creative. Like I talk about something called transformation activities where they have this knack for transforming things from one material state to another in ways that no one else would think about it. Energetic truth radar.
Oh, man.
Which is hard.
Like the BS meter. Is that what you're talking about?
Spirit connection with animals, strong drive for justice, social justice, even within their own families. So I see all of these very strongly in my children when they are not in their threat response. And so if you're coming to PDA for the first time and what you're seeing is the threat response, you're going to feel like my kid is a bad kid and or struggling a lot. And so the thing I need to do most is to do all this therapy and all of this conditioning and training them not to be that way. So I think just like putting that on a shelf and focusing on your interactions with them first. So I would say reducing speech, reducing the amount of questions, allowing them to have the last word without correction, noticing the places where you're trying to do teaching moments and just allowing them to be instead of teach, right? Like with my younger son on Minecraft, I'm so conditioned to do this where he's like asking me to spell something and I'm like, oh, I got to teach him how to read. And it's like, just spell it for him.
Yes.
Right? Lower the demands that feel like you shouldn't, right? Like the remote is right next to their hand and you're in the kitchen and they're like, I need the remote or remote. Just put it in their hand, because you're reformulating the relationship right now. tie their shoes for them, pack their backpack for them. When they have a meltdown, think of it as a panic attack, and
That's good.
like hold space and repair.
Yes.
Right? Like I bring my kids like a popsicle afterwards instead of being like, you can't do that. I'm giving tips here.
Yeah, this is so good. This is so good.
Thinking about for autonomy and equality, think about where, when, and how rather than if. So like with eating, like maybe they could eat somewhere other than the table, in a bowl that you don't usually use at a time that's not usually a meal time.
Yes.
Equality would be letting them be above you. Like let them climb on the car while you're eating dinner, sit on the floor while they're talking to you. So just starting to experiment, like just take 2 weeks and try out some of this stuff and see the difference. See if your child shifts. And if they do, it's like, oh,
Yep.
maybe this is one of the root causes of why things are hard.
I think that experiment is so important because if things do begin to shift, that is such a clear, open wide, like, okay, let's do more, let's do more, let's do more. Like, what else can we do to accommodate in order to expand their window of tolerance? Oh my gosh, their window of tolerance so that they have more access to their thinking brain so that they can just be themselves.
Yeah.
They can just like live their lives.
And you'll feel better.
Yeah.
Like as my husband said, I don't know about all this stuff, but I do know that what we're doing now is making me feel like shit as a parent because we were doing all the strict stuff.
Yep.
So, also recognizing that like it might feel better for you if you're not constantly in conflict.
100%. What it looked like since my son was a teenager by the time that I discovered your work and really began to look at him through the lens of PDA, what it looked like for us was me cleaning his room, doing his laundry, and putting it away.
Mm-hmm.
Just like doing all of that. Cooking him food whenever he wanted it and offering all the time. Do you want some food? Can I make you anything? Whereas before I was like, he's X amount old. Like he can take care of it himself. I was cooking dinner for the family at age 12. Like he can make food for himself, like parentified child, just like, it's fine.
Hashtag parentified.
Hashtag we've got some trauma. But when you think about yourself as a kid and then your own child, you're like, I don't need to do this for him. Like I was independent at that age. Giving him way more screen time than we're comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
Way more screen time.
Way more. So much more.
So much effing screen time.
So much fucking screen time.
So much.
Yeah.
And part of that was seeing one of your reels that said that screen time is a regulator for them.
Yeah.
And I knew that intuitively. It was obvious that was what was happening. But in my brain, if I'm letting him be regulated through the screen, then I'm doing it wrong because he needs to learn how to regulate on his own.
Yeah.
And so I need to take away the regulation tool so that he can go figure it out. Yeah. And it was very much like, go figure it out. And he was just like, what are you doing to me? Like, this is torture.
Yeah.
So really just letting him have a ton of screen time. And then just looking for ways where I could just say yes. Instead of when he was a kid, I literally said no all the time. And gosh, it wasn't pleasant for anyone. And it was a stupid way to parent anyway, but like, it's fine.
You think like that's what your job is?
That's what my job. Like my job is to show him where the limits are, where the edges are, where like the right and the wrong is. And of course there's black and white everywhere. There's no gray. It's just black and white. So it's a no, everything's no. And now it's like, say yes as much as possible. And even in a no, find a yes.
Yes.
Where can I find the yes here? Right? Like, where
Yeah.
can you can't do that, but like we could do this instead. And it's changed everything.
I'm so glad.
But
That's
it's thanks to
awesome.
you.
Well,
It's
you did the
thanks to
work.
you. Oh
That's
my
amazing.
gosh. Casey, this, I know this episode is going to blow up. I just know that the ADHD community is really hungry for this information. I know that to be true. I work with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of parents who are parenting kiddos who are really just trying to figure out their neurodivergent kiddos and just like, what is going on here? And I know that our community is starving for this information. So thank you. Thank you for your
Thanks for having me.
generosity, for
Yeah.
being here. I can't wait to talk to you next week when we talk about PDA in adults, and one of your colleagues will be joining us for that conversation. So guys, stay tuned. Like, share, subscribe, all the things. Send this to your partner, send this to your kids, send this to your mom, send this to all of the people who you know will benefit from it. And we're going to see you again next week. Bye-bye.